What's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you for an ML Sports Take here at Rosie's Corner. Stop by. It is Chicken and Biscuit Day. Plus, they've got the hot and cold subs and the Lunas. I just ordered up a chicken parm and a Luna with that side tomato sauce. Tremendous stuff here at Rosie's Corner. Pizza and wings available all day as well. Gold Fever, chicken, garlic parm, I should say. And make sure you try all kinds of different specialty pizzas, the veggie, the garlic, the broccoli garlic, everything here at Rosie's Corner. A proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. A lot of people home this week with school, being closed over the President's Day holiday and all the rest. So a great time to grab lunch, grab dinner here at Rosie's Corner and kind of lay low at home and hunker down, although it's going to be really nice weather this week, getting up into the 40s, next week even into the 50s in central New York. So definitely order from Rosie's as well. A proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. Gift cards are available for every and all occasions as well. Syracuse 87-83 with the big win over NC State last night. And, it was unbelievable. Chris Bell in the first half, it was like NBA Jam. When you played that old video game, if you're old enough like me to remember, he's on fire, and you just kept giving it to the guy because every single time he shoots, he's going to make it, right? And so that was Chris Bell in the first half, and he, scored, 26 points in this basketball game. But what was frustrating was in the second half, Syracuse, they really couldn't design any plays to get this guy open. I mean, I know that NC State adjusted defensively. I get that they put some blanket defenders on him on the wing, and they kind of tried to frustrate him and get close to him up high and all that. Okay, fine, but can't you counter that counter? I couldn't understand why there wasn't a play drawn up, where maybe you could even draw a double screen or try Chris Bell getting the ball in a different spot and then rolling away. You got to try something. I mean, if a guy is that hot, you got to keep delivering. The good news, though, was that despite Chris Bell not getting plays designed for him and not getting touches, not getting shots, everybody else performed unbelievably well. Now, again, the Syracuse offense this year, it depends on the game. It depends on the half, it seems like, in terms of, running offensive sets, right? Like against Clemson, they ran some offensive sets. They got the game tied 60-60, and then they went away from J.J. Starling. This is the stuff that I talked about in these videos earlier in the week. Like, they're so consistently inconsistent scoring and shooting that you just don't know what team's going to show up, right? They score well over 80 points against NC State, but then you look at the road games that they've had, and by the way, this was only the third win for Syracuse away from the Dome, Georgetown and Pittsburgh being the other two. But this team, you just don't know if they're going to get 65 points on the board, 85 points on the board. You don't know who's going to get hot, who's not. You have no idea what's going to happen. And a lot of that is from shot selection, and a lot of that is also from the way they run the offense. Sometimes they run the offense and it's complete ISO, stand around, dribble, and then, Judah Mintz, go figure it out, or Quadir Copeland, go figure it out, or J.J. Starling, go figure it out. And that was what happened last night. Most of the second half to me was just guys all spread out, and it depended on who had the ball with under 10 seconds to go, or 15 even. And whoever had the ball, that was it. They're going to the tin, or they're going to try to create a three-point shot. And they pulled it out. I'd rather see more set plays in this situation for Syracuse, but they pulled it out in this particular situation. Recently, the last, 6-7 games, they've dominated NC State home and away. They just happen to have the number of NC State, but like Burns, and then you have Horn on the other end. You have offensive players. You have some studs on the other side in NC State, but Syracuse just kept scoring. And, NC State came all the way back. What was it, a 15-point lead for Syracuse? They end up taking the lead, they being NC State, but Cuse kept their composure, and whether it was a Starling or a Quadir Copeland or a Judah Mintz, who didn't do really anything in the first half, much of that having to do with Chris Bell, of course, Syracuse pulled it out. And so it's just weird. It's such a conundrum, to try and figure this out, because they have big-time offensive players. They have J.J. Starling. They have Judah Mintz. They have Chris Bell. And then Quadir Copeland's athleticism is incredible. And you saw him with breakaway dunks. You saw him getting to the rim. And you saw him make huge plays both in on offense and defense in the clutch in the final couple of minutes. Think for a moment about Quadir Copeland's drive. And this is just one of many, right? Where he got to the tin in the last couple of, in the last, minute or two, and made he made huge plays across the board. But in the final minute there, he went up and drew the foul, and He gets a couple of free throws, nails those. Then late, when NC State gets the ball, Horns in the corner, and Copeland he didn't foul him. He didn't foul him, and, the shots missed, and Mintz gets the rebound, and he makes free throws at the other end. Those huge clutch plays by Quadir Copeland, I mean, you cannot overstate those enough. And his energy and just the way he seems to get along with teammates, his fire, everybody needs a Quadir Copeland on their team. As long as you're not getting teed up, which so far this year he has not, he's been such a huge, huge part of this team, a revelation, so to speak. And look, this doesn't put Syracuse back into the NCAA tournament conversation, but it puts you on the outside of the bubble a little bit to make things interesting again. I mean, they have an outside chance here of, if they can rattle off some wins. I think they need to win out, personally. I think they need to win out and maybe even win 1 or 2 in the end ACC tournament to become in the discussion for even the bubble. But they're there. If they had lost this game, you wouldn't be saying anything. You'd say the season is over. The problem, of course, is the 3 road losses right now. I mean, I've even said it. This is how, again, margins are so thin in college basketball, right? You're walking a tight rope. They lose at BC, at Wake, at Georgia Tech. You think about this for a second. Even if they win 2 of those, at the very least, even if they win 1 of those, we're having a whole different conversation right now because of the North Carolina win at home and the games remaining. Again, 1 of 3 to win would be nice. 2 of 3 to be like, wow. And that was possible. I mean, they were in a couple of those games. The Wake game, okay, I get it. But the BC Georgia Tech game, you kind of look at those and go, man, if they had just made a couple more plays down the stretch, and that's usually how it is. It's a couple, it's 1 game here, 1 game there, when you start to break some things down, and it's all coming down to, mid to late January, all of February, and then into March, and that's why it's such a 90-day sport, so to speak, or 60 to 90-day sport, college basketball. So we'll have to see what happens, but I couldn't believe my eyes in the second half that NC State just could not stop over and over an ISO ball. I mean, Syracuse just brings the ball up, they spread people out, and it's, okay, who's going to get it this time? Who's going to try to go to the rim and make something happen? There's no design plays. Guys are just standing around. You already know that Chris Bell isn't getting it because they've already blanketed him, and Syracuse is not going to run any plays to get him open, and yet they pulled this game out. So those are some of the takeaways that I had. One other thing that's big, at least in this game, again, the first half was kind of different than the second half, but it looks like Ema's getting some time in there, and it looks like Cuff's getting some time in there. Now, they might not do tons, but it's important that they get some minutes in there because Syracuse just cannot win with 6 guys, right? I mean, they just can't. I mean, these guys are going to be gassed by the end of the game. And so just even getting them 6, 9, 10, 11 minutes is big without, Benny Williams in there and obviously Carey with the concussion situation. So we'll have to see what happens as we move forward here. Notre Dame, you got Virginia Tech, you have some winnable games still. Louisville, you got to win that game, of course, but teams are losing at a record clip on the road right now. I don't care if it's top 10, top 25, whatever, in conference, and it seems like nobody can win on the road. Creighton buried UConn last night at their place as well. So, that's another road situation where somebody had trouble last night with UConn. You saw Monday night, Virginia Tech absolutely destroyed Virginia Tech destroyed Virginia on Big Monday on ESPN. So this is happening all over college basketball. So Syracuse going in and winning at NC State was a big thing last night. I thought it was just weird how it happened with Bell getting fired, then he can't get a shot. All ISO ball in the second half became a man-to-man thing. It became extra physical. Syracuse shot the lights out, obviously, from the floor, from 3, from the free throw line, and that obviously was what propelled them up to the top. And, of course, their rebounding was so much better at both sides of the floor, where they've gotten dominated mostly during the year. So we'll see what happens from here, but Syracuse is at least in it on the outside, maybe a chance here. You win a couple more, you get more into the conversation, and that's all you can ask this time of year with how the season has gone for them, up and down, consistently inconsistent, the rebounding trouble scoring consistently, the depth problem, some of the maybe, battling and the attitudes and the team stuff and the body language and all that. I give them credit for pulling it out last night because we've seen that go on as well. And we know all about the depth problems as well. Benny Williams not on the roster anymore, as I alluded to, Carey out with the concussion. So, the road losses, all these different things, right? The trials and tribulations, the transition of the first year with Red Autry from Jim Boeheim, all these balls that are in the air, all you want is a chance at this time of year. And even though the road losses are really ugly, BC, Wake, and Georgia Tech, winning last night at least puts you in the conversation to, hey, if you can stack some more wins here the next couple of weeks, you're at least in it to try to make up for all of that, to make a run to get, an at-large bid. and be on the bubble. That's kind of what you're hoping to do. You're trying to hope to get to a point where you're on the bubble, where more eyes can look at you, more people. Oh, maybe we should consider Syracuse. All you want is a consideration to be on the bubble in a few weeks from right now. Mike Lindsley with you here. It's an ML Sports Take from Rosie's Corner. It's Chicken and Biscuit Day. Stop by, plus pizza and wings, hot and cold subs, and more here at Rosie's Corner, a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. Route 11 in front of the Brewerton Bridge. Stop by all day for all of that and more. Desserts, salads, chocolate milk for the kids, drinks and chips to go with your subs. It's all here at Rosie's Corner. And don't forget about the garlic parm wings, the Gold Fever, the sneaky classic burger, and the lasagna are terrific here as well. Stop by Rosie's all day long. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.